I forgot to mention this, but when we walked into the restaurant, I noticed this greasy Italian guy.
Damn.
And he had a big.
He said that like a
That sounded really racist.
And
That's my people, bro.
Okay,
You gotta walk it back a little bit.
That sounded
all right?
so racist.
No, I'm sorry. No, listen. I have some of my best friends are Italians. All right, like I.
You don't know what Big Red chewing gum is?
So like that's cinnamon gum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, then maybe. I mean, that's the only flavor I could think
You,
of that
you don't go
associate with red.
You don't consider yourself to be a big redder?
This is a little red.
Are you not a redditor?
Just a little guy.
He is wearing blue, so not to be confused with red. If we had a big red in the call, you could combine Cole with someone else, and then it would equal
Is that just
my
Ryan?
color. True. If we got Ryan in the call right now, they could combine and make my shirt.
Ryan. Yeah.
Hey, it's me, Ryan in Theory,
Ryan in
twitch.tv/Ryan in Theory, and this is the podcast. Welcome back to the, even though nobody has podcast, everyone. My name is Nestani.
I am Jaxler, unfortunately.
I'm DECosmic.
I'm Coley.
This guy says, by the way, I just want to point out that this guy says, unfortunately, every single week that he's Jax.
I've noticed.
And you've got to get like a new bit or like
look,
you know, you've got to do something else, big dog. I don't know.
In my defense, I feel like dog shit, okay? It's fucking harvest season.
In
and
my fence,
Indiana's
there's
full of
dog shit.
corn. Cool. I didn't ask. Anyway, so I'm fucking suffering.
Nobody asked. Hey.
Damn.
But
He said the thing. He said the
I
thing.
did say the thing.
Am I recording? Yeah, okay, I'm recording.
Yeah,
cool.
It's allergy season, gamers.
Dude, my allergies
Yeah.
have been absolutely horrendous. My father and I have to sneeze like world record numbers. It's actually ridiculous.
Dude, I'm taking a Benadryl every 6
constantly
hours on the
low
clock.
pace,
I'm gonna
dude.
see the Hat Man at this rate. It's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, I should probably take medications and stuff, but I'm just like I'll sneeze.
I take
I was
so
sup-
much medicine.
I was supposed to get tested for like ADHD yesterday, and I had to reschedule because you're not allowed to be on antihistamines for it for whatever reason. And I antihistamines, allergy meds.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Sorry, that was like really hostile for no reason. That's my bad.
I mean, you did say antihistamines whenever you could have just said allergy meds.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
You tell me you don't take acetaminophen?
He's taking inspiration from Cosmic this episode, goddamn.
acetaminophen is for pain, like it's like, but I also can't take that because it interferes with some of my diabetes shit.
Right.
So it's
I would
like-
assume. That
so
was
it's
just
like-
a long pill word that I know. Anyway,
All
sorry.
you need to know is that I mean, Cole and I are both suffering. It's harvest season in the Midwest right now, which is releasing mold spores into the air, and it's fucking awful, and we're suffering. But Cole's suffering slightly more than I am because
I'm from
You just-
Tennessee, so that I just have allergies all the time, 24/7. So
Yeah.
I'm used to it.
Ugh.
It gets
Yeah.
kind of bad on the East Coast, just in the changing of the seasons.
Just
for me.
existing.
I have like, I
On the
have
East
like
Coast,
three.
it's just
I have like three days. Like, there's like 4 3-day periods where I just kind of am dead to the world, and I just like cannot breathe basically for those few days, and I'm just like, all right, well, I gotta survive anyway.
You guys ever use neti
Yay.
pots?
No.
I have, and they're rough.
They're
know what that
rough,
is.
but they get the job done. At least for
So-
me.
I just take allergy
I mean,
meds,
here's
bro.
my problem. I swam, so my reflex is the moment water goes up my nose, I blow it out. So it burns like
makes
a
sense.
motherfucker for me because I'm not used to
Ouch.
having water up my nose. So
That muscle memory betraying you.
yeah, it's fucked up. TBH.
Yeah. So Cole, tell us about your experience in kitchen nightmares today.
All right. All right. So
bro's ready to unload.
Before you
Dude.
jump in, I just want you all to know that he didn't actually go on the Kitchen Nightmares show. This isn't anything as illustrious as that. But
He's an hour and a half late to the podcast, so I'm just
yeah,
I'm
he's-
joking. He's 40
he's
minutes
more like
late.
45 minutes.
I was about
late
to
to the
say, wait, am I
podcast,
really
but-
I just wanted to say a
Guess
bigger
myself.
number, but you know. But anyway, go ahead.
You know, bigger
right,
number,
so
better.
let me-
grade.
He's
Let me
like
turn the
45
clock.
minutes late to the podcast.
Let me turn the clock back to 4 p.m. I was sitting in this spot, and my parents said, "Hey, we're going out to dinner tonight
Must be the money.
after you go to the gym." I go to the gym at 5 o'clock, and I am there for about an hour. So I was like, okay, ideally we'll be at the restaurant at 6:30 and we'll be back by like 7:30, and then we'll be totally fine to meet the podcast. So, well, let me get to that in a sec. So we get there, right? This place has like we've never been there before, for context. And it's like this, it's a barbecue place. So they're like, oh, try our smoked meats and our jerk chicken and our wah stuff. And it's like, okay.
Whose chicken did you jerk?
And we sit the chicken, we jerked it off.
They jerk their chicken, yeah.
I see.
Yeah, they do it.
Noted.
Yeah, only the really fancy places like
they jerk their chicken when you walk in the door.
There's no nice guy
bring
chicken.
your own chicken.
It's just jerk chicken.
Bring your own
not
chicken
this
night.
time. But
Bring your own
this
chicken
time.
is insane.
That's just Korean barbecue, dude. Just bring your own. Continue.
But
yeah.
We sit down and we're like, wow, there's a lot of people here. And then our waitress, who, granted, very sweet person, but she just can't control anything. She was like, yeah, just to let you guys know, we're running low on our chicken and some other meat that I wasn't going to get. And all of a sudden, this busboy did this multiple times, by the way. He walked up and he kind of like leaned behind her in the ear to whisper. And he was like, we just ran out of jerk chicken. We just ran out of the beef tips. We just ran out of the pulled pork. And he did that like 5 times. And my family was like, okay, then what are we going to eat? Because you guys don't have any food. And our waitress gave us an out. She was like, guys,
you should just
you
leave.
can leave.
You should have
said that.
And we didn't. I was like, Mom and Dad, leave it to you.
God.
And they had faith. They were good people.
Oh,
who
what
have
a
faith,
mistake.
and
Never have faith.
What
Yeah.
a mistake. Have
Definitely
faith.
a mistake.
PSA,
Oh my
anyone
God.
that is ever going to a restaurant ever, if the waitress says to you or the waiter says to you to not do something or to not get something or to leave, you should just listen to them.
You should just go.
This is just proof of that. This is actual proof.
Because you're the
of
one
that.
paying them, so if they don't want you there, you should just go.
Just go.
Be like, hey man, this shit's ass. You should leave.
So
The
I
waitress
actually
said that she
didn't,
could
'cause they
no
were
longer
out.
jerk your chicken.
There was no
So-
chicken to jerk. Like it was nothing. And so now I forgot to mention this, but when we walked into the restaurant, I noticed this greasy Italian guy.
Damn.
And he had a big.
He said that like a
That sounded really racist.
And
That's my people, bro.
okay,
You gotta
wait, no,
walk
that's
it
not
back
what
a
I
little
meant.
bit.
That sounded
all right?
so racist.
No, I'm sorry. No, listen. I have some of my best friends are Italians. All right, like I. Listen.
Yeah,
sorry.
me,
All right, I'm
motherfucker.
sorry.
Walk that shit back. All right.
That's not what I meant. It's just he had his hair. He was distressed. He was a distressed individual. He was the manager.
How about you
All right, but
distress
he had
some
this- he had
bitches
this-
on your dick?
He had this humongous gold chain with like a cross that was like probably like 4 inches or something.
how
Like it
we
was
do, baby.
huge. Like, I mean, he had some serious bucks or something. But so I noticed him when we walked in, and
You don't have no more.
so we sat down, and the waitress was. When she mentioned the food being gone, she was like, all right, what do you guys want to drink? And we asked for our drinks. And then all of a sudden, I was looking at my phone, or I was talking to my dad, and all of a sudden it hit me. I looked at my watch. I was like, we've been here for like 30 minutes, and we haven't even gotten our drinks.
They were telling you to leave. I'm just saying.
yeah.
And we...
She literally told you to leave.
So-
Hold on. Before you even complete the story, she
I
told
know,
you to leave. She ghosts you for 30 minutes, and you're like, I need her so bad. And you stay.
I need her is
What I just
crazy.
said. That is not what I just said. I don't even know her name. Anyway.
That's
No, all right,
crazy.
listen, I made a mistake. There was a lapse in my judgment.
You made multiple.
Honestly, our judgment.
I was
Our
gonna say there's not
entire
just one
judgment.
mistake in this story.
Yes, but
There's
and
the
so,
not leaving the restaurant, the racism about the Italian guy.
That is
the-
not. No, listen, guys. No, all right. Listen. So
Yeah, there's no salvaging this one, bud.
it was around this time when we realized we didn't get our drinks, and I saw there were people on the other side of the restaurant, and this is where Kitchen Nightmares started. First of all, Hell's Kitchen was playing at the bar, which is really funny. But it was like there was this waitress, And she kept walking around to every table with food. And then she finally put the food down, and then she would do the same thing over and over again. And then there's this manager who's just, this guy is just caked in sweat. Like, he's just going like, oh, like he's so distressed. He's like touching his face. He's like, he's super stressed out.
Jeez. And this waitress is just like, up, you know?
And so
getting ready.
Then and there's a table next to us, and he's like, what kind of meat you get? Like, what did you get? And they were like, we got this, which is the complete opposite of what we ordered, actually. And he was like, oh, well, let me get that for you. Hey, Chelsea, come here. Come on, let me do it. And it was a hurt. I was like looking around for cameras. I was like, is Gordon here? Like, am I actually here? Like, this is the craziest I've ever seen a restaurant in my life. The whole staff was bewildered, and the busboy just became like the paper boy to all the waitresses to be like ding dong, like there's no more meat left at this barbecue place. And it's like, it's a Wednesday.
Oh, it's a barbecue
place. It's a Tuesday.
It's a
Tuesday, bro. Like,
that just tells me they might have gotten like
there's no sports game. There's no nothing.
Yeah.
And so then we finally order our food, which is when we actually could have had our second out, now that I'm thinking about it, and we still didn't take it.
Your third. This is your third one. First one was when she explicitly told you. Second one was the ghosting for 30 minutes. This is the third.
Dude,
we're on number 3.
I'll send a picture later, and if you want to put it in the video, you can. But when I finally got my food, it was like hilariously small. I got like,
was it cold?
I got like this little pile of sausage. And then, like, have you ever gone to like a sports game and you know those little containers where they put like pretzel bites or fries in it or something?
Mm-hmm.
That was like halfway filled with rice. And then I got a little piece of cornbread, and I was like, that's it.
How much did they charge you for? How much did they charge you for it?
That was like $15.
You get owned. You just got robbed.
I got a salad too. I got a salad too, but it was like the worst salad.
For real, yeah.
I'm just saying, she told you to leave and then she robbed you. Like, I don't know. I think.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't know.
Such is life, man.
So, but we kept hearing like these conversations on other tables, and they were saying the same thing. It felt like I was in a video game, and there were all these NPCs like warning me, like, don't come in here. And I still ignored them. I just completely entered the dungeon, like, and I suffered for it.
The boss fight music started playing. You were like, "That's fine. I don't need the save point."
Yeah. Oh, and then the funny thing is that this I noticed, and I don't know what this means, but the manager who was so. He was like, look at my neck, look at my chains, look at my gold crucifix on my chest.
I thought you were going to say, look at my nipples, and I was getting really concerned for like a second. And
no.
So was I.
No, yeah. I actually never talked to him. I just observed from afar.
Did you observe his nipples, or?
I honestly...
I sure hope you don't.
I
hope you got a good long look at those nips.
I didn't see them pepperonis.
Those fucking pepperonis, yeah.
The paperboy came up behind and was like, "We have no more pepperoni. Sorry,
it's over."
Oh my gosh, dude. But he hid after all the embarrassing stuff that he did or that happened with the customers, just literally getting the exact opposite thing of what they ordered. He was like, "I'm just gonna tuck this chain in my shirt. I got nothing to show off." And he like kept putting it. He was down in shame. And that's really it.
Not proud of him.
I mean, it was mediocre food with like little portions, and it was that much. And then that was it.
It didn't sound like you got food, to be honest. It feels like you just got a snack. You know what I mean? Like,
well, so here's the funny thing is that like,
facts.
So here's a little something to make up for it, just for me though.
Oh,
like when I get home from the gym,
never mind.
When I get home from the gym, I want to eat now. Like, I want food now. I'm a hungry son of a bitch. Like, I'm ready to eat whatever's in front of me.
Yeah,
like, they gave me this crummy salad with just lettuce and the runniest ranch ever, and I just scarfed it down anyway. And I scarfed down everything I had. But my family at the table with me, the family at the table with me was so disappointed in their food that they were just like, "Do you want it?" And I was like, "Yeah." And and then I fucking ate it. and so I got a full belly a little bit anyway, but like
One meal for the price of 3.
Yeah.
I don't understand their
Yeah.
logic here.
Yeah.
Like, you waited for the food and you're paying for it. Like, you might as well eat it. Why are you
And
passing
you know what's
it
the
off?
meat that was available? I don't remember if I said this. The meat that was available, you had an upcharge, and we still had to pay the upcharge for those who ordered it. Yep. I don't know why we stayed. I don't know. I mean, technically,
Well,
thank
you didn't pay for it, right?
I didn't. Thank
Yeah.
you, mom and dad.
Easy,
You're
easy.
beautiful, beautiful people. I love my parents.
Beautiful people.
They are beautiful people.
A
That's what I
single
meant
one.
to say. Yeah.
A singular beautiful
thankfully-
Which one is it? Vote in the
Thankfully-
comments below.
Yes, please do, actually, you know. But thankfully my brother had a pen, and
Pineapple
we had our
pen.
napkins, and we played tic-tac-toe, and I tried to draw a chair that was across the room. That's how bored we
Bro,
were. That's how
you
long
were-
we waited.
You definitely
Yeah,
were.
my dad won the first tic-tac-toe game, and then
Tac tac
that Patty went.
So I gotta say, how do you lose tic tac toe? Like if you're not completely stupid, then like you're guaranteed.
It's because
right?
I lose it all the
forgot
time.
I forgot how the corner well, actually, that is a good point. I was circle, so like X usually just or whoever goes first always wins. But I forgot the corner technique,
I don't
like
know, I go first
how
and
that
lose.
worked, and so I prepped for it incorrectly. So then the next time, and honestly, if I'm playing tic-tac-toe, man, I'm not gonna be a little bitch and use like the meta. Like, come on, let's be a little bit more interesting here, you know? Like, I'm gonna just put it right in the middle to start and see what happens, you know? Like, I'm not that kind of guy. But anyway, that's my entire rant. I think if I have anything else, I'll probably just remember it in silence and hate myself for a while. But if there's anything to learn today, is what Nestani has said, and that is when the person serving you gives you an out, you take it.
You just take it,
immediately,
bro.
because there is some funny business going
Yeah,
on.
especially like if you order
Yeah.
something and they're like, don't order it.
Don't do
Should
that.
not
Yeah.
order it.
Well, that I mean that didn't happen, but like, yeah. So I'm sorry. That was my little dissertation.
Not to mention that, like, you know, because this country has a fucked up tip system, waitresses and waiters are incentivized to tell you when something is shit. Because
Yeah, that's literally what I just said.
most people will
Yeah.
like, you know, they'll blame the waiter or the waitress for the bad dish, not the cook.
which is so
stupid,
you know?
stupid.
Dumb.
But
Yeah,
it's
I
so-
hate
It's
it.
very dumb. It's
dog
super
shit.
dumb. But it's like,
Yeah.
so yeah, they need to tell people like, hey, no, that shit sucks. Don't get it. So yeah.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, I give her prop. Like she was literally great. Like, and we just didn't listen to her.
This is the exact
And
opposite,
this is
right? Of how
why, audio listeners, you should believe women when they speak.
Yeah.
So this is how you know that you're not on Kitchen Nightmares, because the waitresses on that, since they're, you know, being paid for their appearance, they're just going to tell people to get the shittiest stuff so that Gordon can see the reaction of all the customers
That's
getting
true.
the awful food.
I was really hoping
know?
for like the manager to like throw down a plate or somebody start yelling. Like that's when I want to know.
That would have been fun.
Exactly.
yeah.
That's what I thought it was building up to, but it didn't.
You were waiting for him to like pull off his chain and just like hit somebody with it or something.
Yeah, dude, some like Castlevania stuff where he throws his cross and it comes back on him. That'd be so sick.
I'll kill you
No one
and
said
the
that.
night.
It's fine.
Well, he said throw his crew, and then he said cross, but he said crew first,
Well, it's because
and I said crouton.
I guess it's technically not a crucifix because it didn't have. I don't know.
I was gonna say it doesn't have Christ
It
on
doesn't
it,
have.
so it's a cross.
It doesn't have
No
Big J
Christ.
on it.
Yo, shout outs to
Yeah.
Big J. That's my dog.
Yeah. Bless up, you know, as they say.
Sorry.
Yeah. I don't know. Have you guys had bad restaurant experiences like that or worse or anything, or not really?
I mean, not in a very, very long time, because usually when I go to restaurants, it's just like me and one other person. There's rare instances, obviously, like when I'm at GDQs, but most of the time I will just go by myself, and like they're not really gonna
They can't fuck
skip.
it up.
Yeah, they
it's
can't
one
fuck it up.
person,
Like it's
like,
literally
exactly.
one person, so it's just like I'm usually just in and out of there, or I like sit at the bar and eat or
Not to be
whatever.
confused with In-N-Out, the fast food chain. And
Yeah, because we don't have that on the East Coast. So yeah. I will say that like, I think there was one year that we went to a local Italian place here, and so again, Italians, come on, y'all, we need to get it the fuck together. So it was for my mom's birthday or whatever, and it was sort of a similar situation, but they also had us at a table that was like in the middle of fucking everything, but things just took forever to get to our table. But I mean, we were kind of a large party, but not like too big, but it just took fucking forever to get out of there, man. But that's probably the last time that I had like straight up a bad experience. I will say that like an Applebee's that I went to recently.
Well,
usually when I go to Applebee's,
dude,
I have
Applebee's could be kind of fire.
I have a decent experience there. Like, you know, I know what I'm signing up for. But there was one Applebee's that I went to recently where like the alcoholic beverages just tasted like they were serving me colored water, bro. Like somebody was thinking real hard about whatever flavor it was supposed to be next to me, you know? But like, that's the only Applebee's where I've had that experience, you know? And I'm just like, all right, well, this sucks, but...
Some Applebee's are so fire, dude. Like when I was in college, man, and they had
facts,
What are you talking about? What are we talking about?
No.
Where am I? Oh,
no.
I'm in a call of 3 white people. Never mind. Carry on.
Whoa. All right. Well, first of all, they had these things called Dollaritas, and they still come back occasionally.
Not to be confused with Salsaritas.
Yeah.
That is the best way to get drunk on a budget. The best way to get drunk on a budget. It's $1 for like a glass that's like this big, and it's already got like that much liqueur in it, and it's great. They have Bacardi buckets too. They had endless wings and fries.
I have
that's
a feeling
just dope.
That you could go to a liquor store
makes it taste better
and buy liquor cheaper than that. And I don't drink.
It's $1. It's a cup like this, and it's $1.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess, but it's like, come on, you know, man.
You can't say it's
For
the best way.
$1,
I guess
Why
you're
are
right.
you hating on this, man? It's balling on a budget.
It might not be the best way, but it's probably the cheapest.
It's a way.
I think
It's a pretty good way. I don't know.
It's pretty.
Dude, but
it's
they had
decent.
endless wings and fries for like $10.
That's pretty
I
good.
think. Yeah. That was way long ago though, and I made
it's
use
probably
of it.
because it's
and they give
endless
you a
because no one
celery
wants
stick
them.
every time, and I said, "Stop that shit! Stop giving me fucking celery sticks. I'm not gonna eat it. I'm sorry. I'm there for the chicken."
I still
feel
don't
like I'm just
understand
talking
the
this
celery.
whole podcast.
Honestly, no, you're
Probably
good.
just
Nice
like a
change of
palate
pace.
cleanser. I don't know.
I
Cole
guess.
wishes he
I
went to
don't know, man.
Applebee's today, audio
I
listeners.
do, dude. That sounds so fire.
Honestly, like compared to
And you are
the
white, Cole,
experience
that's
that he
crazy.
had, Applebee's would probably be an
it's an up.
improvement.
I mean, McDonald's is
Yeah,
an
listen,
upgrade
I'm
from
not
that.
saying-
Straight up.
Yeah.
21.
At least with
I'm not saying
McDonald's, you get the food
Applebee's
quick.
is like fine dining.
That's
It
true.
might be
and he
the-
would have been on the podcast on time if he
Yeah,
went to
it's
McDonald's.
true. Yeah.
That's right.
Dude, he'd have been the first one in the call if he went to McDonald's. Like,
Hey, people have been saying
That's
this.
true.
true.
Or he would
I mean,
be
even
stuck
if
on the
the food would
toilet.
be like-
one of the two.
Just the that's true. Yeah, it's like the worst food on planet Earth, but at least he would have been on time. Like, that's really about it.
But like Nestani or Jaxler, you haven't had like bad restaurant experiences as
I'm
of
sure I
late?
probably have, but nothing like especially traumatic comes to mind to me at the moment.
So I'm gonna have an answer for you, and I don't think this is what you're going to expect. But I'm broke, so I don't really go out and eat. It's not a
Hey,
thing I
that's
do
fair,
very
you know?
often. So I don't have that many.
It's expensive now, dude.
And normally,
Yeah, that's why I don't do it.
And normally when I go out, since I used to work in the service industry, I just I know how to talk to the waiter
Yeah,
or waitress so
same.
that they know
Right,
that
yeah.
I know, and then I just always get really good service because I know how to talk to them in a proper way.
Yeah.
And that's my secret. Be really nice to them and just be like,
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah,
get it.
it turns out being like nice to service workers is actually a pretty solid strategy.
Pretty good life hack. Yeah.
Yeah, literally, if you just want to make your server like you, just like whenever they're like, oh, sorry, I need to do this or whatever, just be like, yeah, no worries. Like, take as long as
Yeah,
you need.
literally.
So anything like that,
Literally.
like just like saying that like you don't need to do whatever the fuck right now, you have time. easy a hack.
Yeah.
Just let them do their
Super
job,
easy.
because
Easy money.
I would say 90% of servers are really good at doing their job, basically because they have to be good at doing their job, because how they get paid is through you, nigga, and not through the institution. So they have to pander to you and not their boss.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's why you should believe your waitress when she tells you to fucking leave.
All right,
Sure,
I get it.
yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah, I would say definitely like eating alone too in a restaurant is a significantly different experience.
I feel
than, like,
very
eating
weird
with a
doing
group.
that, which is also why I don't do it.
That's
That'll
fair.
do
I
it.
like
yeah.
doing it.
It feels lonely as fuck. That's like the other.
I
big
just feel
thing.
like I'm
It's
being
just like-
perceived,
I
and I
don't-
don't want to be perceived. You know what I mean?
I don't really feel like lonely at all when I do it. Like the most of the time that I used to do it was when I would go to like a local noodle shop on my day off, and I would just go there for lunch. Like just
If it's like a local, like
Yeah,
I feel like
less-
that's
go
different.
out.
I feel like if it's like a
Yeah.
local place, acceptable. I feel like if you're
Yeah.
going to like,
So if it's a branded restaurant, it's different.
I think if you're going to like a branded sit down restaurant, yeah, I like if I'm walking in
Easily.
Applebee's alone, like what the fuck am I doing?
Oh,
like come
man.
on, if I'm
Yeah,
walking
that's
to
just kinda-
Longhorn
that's just
Steakhouse
kinda
alone,
tragic.
like I don't know, Olive
Well,
Garden
Longhorn-
alone, like come on,
Come on.
bro, like, you can't be doing.
I mean,
Actually, you might be able to go to Longhorn alone just because that place is actually fucking fire, but
yeah.
See, if I'm ever in a situation where I'm like that, I will always just put the earbuds in and just kind of use that as a method to distract from that feeling of being perceived.
oh yeah,
Does that
or
make
like
sense?
a laptop and
Yeah.
you pretend like you're doing actual work, but
Yeah.
really you're just like watching
Yeah.
the NBA.
You
Or-
pull up a blank Excel spreadsheet and then you just type random things in the cells.
You know, I don't really have that many, unfortunately. But I do
Well, I
have
think
an
that's
unfortunate.
fortunate. I think that's a good thing.
Well, I guess so. I do have an
Yeah.
unfortunate experience with a game that I've played recently, though,
Uh-oh.
because
Is that
I've
game
been,
Smite 2?
huh?
So is that game Smite 2?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, it's the thing that I've been intentionally holding back from you all. So as you all may have known, I don't know if I talked about it on the podcast, but NEVA came out, and I've been looking forward to this game for a very long time. And not to be like, I don't know, like dramatic or anything, but
He's about to be dramatic.
Talking about this
Podcast
like it's a
listeners.
crush. You're talking about this, or it's like I met this girl. Not to be
He's
dramatic.
about to be dramatic.
it just might be the most soulless game I've ever played in my life.
Damn.
And what I have to say about this, okay, is there's a lot of layers here, actually, and I'm gonna kind of break it down. I just wanted to start it with that, and I also it's soulless, and also I would argue most importantly lazy. I think this game was very lazy, and that's my biggest harp about it. Now, it's not for the thing you expected, so I'm now not going to talk about NEVA for a second. I'm now going to talk about Gris, okay?
Yeah.
So Gris, if you all do not know, is this very in-depth story where you basically go through the stages of grief as the character. It's very moving. It's really just like lightning in a bottle game. The art's really fucking good. The platforming is really, really interesting. There's some really cool things that they do with the platforming that, like, you know, changes it up, because the whole mechanic of the game is that there's no death mechanic. And because there's no death mechanic, they've made all the platforming so that if you fail a platforming puzzle challenge, you retry it immediately. There's no death. And so that in and of itself just makes a really smooth platforming thing. And so there's a lot of thought put into both the storyline and the gameplay. I played NEVA, and I rolled in a straight line for about 80% of the game. And there was no storyline outside of, oh, your dog died, be sad.
John Wick.
That immediately John
And-
Wick came to mind.
And now, here's where I will give a bit back. Actually, I won't give a bit back. I'm about to insult like more than half the population here. Basically, this storyline structure, by the way, I'm not spoiling anything because there is no storyline structure, is that you have your little fucking cub, you grow up with your fucking cub, right? And then like you go and then you fight like the fucking Demon King or whatever the fuck. It's not the Demon King. I don't know why I said that. But you fight like the
Ganondorf,
big,
yeah.
big bad person, right?
Fire Lord.
And your dog dies that you grew up with, but the dog like sacrificed so that the other dog so like your dog had a cub, right? Your dog had a child, and then your dog and you fought like this big bad guy. Your big dog sacrificed itself so that your little dog could like live its life. That's the storyline, right?
Okay.
And for me, I think this is really fucking lazy because the whole premise of the game is just, hey, you like animals, right? And so because you like animals, you will feel sad because we killed this animal. And for me, because I don't really fuck with animals, I just thought the story was completely flat and just garbage, especially in comparison to Gris. Now, I saw a really interesting comment, though, where it was like, well, what if NEVA came out first and then Gris came out? Would you have the same opinion? And I think I probably wouldn't have played Gris if NEVA came out first and I played NEVA. And that's my rebuttal, because I would have been like, oh, this is just like another game. Because that's what it was to me, is that it was just another like 2D game. But like, I think what I was saying is that like, imagine Hollow Knight without good combat, and imagine Celeste without good platforming, and combine it together. That's NEVA. And
I thought you really liked the platforming in that game.
I liked one section. So if you all go on my Blue Sky, there is one really cool section of platforming. The rest of the game is not that. They had one cool section with some like mirror platforming. It was really cool. I will give them that. And also what I will give them is that NEVA is the prettiest game I've ever played in my life. Visually, it beats the fucking brakes off of Gris, which means that like, if you just want to turn off your brain and just play a fucking beautiful game, play NEVA. Like you'll have a good 4 hours of just like mundane platforming, mundane combat, and then like a mundane storyline. But it's the prettiest thing you've ever laid your fucking eyes on. And so it's like a 7. Maybe a 6.
Art style.
Wow.
It's like a 6 or a 7. Like it's not gonna change your life, but like for what it does, it's good. But like that's my thing, is that like I just think that like if they spent like 4 years developing this, right? What I feel what happened is that they spent 3.5 years developing the art for the game, and then the last 6 months they said, oh shit, we have to make a game. And then they put the platforming and everything else together. And that's why I just say it's lazy, because I feel like every part of Gris was so thought out. And I feel like this was just like, it was just like, I think the combat's fine, but like, I don't know. It's like, again, if you played the game Hollow Knight, but it didn't have good combat, what does the game offer you? Nothing. The whole point of Hollow Knight is the combat. Like, I mean, there's that game's still very good, right? But that's the thing I'm saying about NEVA. NEVA's still a good game, right? But like Celeste, if it didn't have interesting platforming, what would you be doing in the game? Like, you know what I mean? It's just like,
true. Yeah.
And so like literally like most of the game is literally just running from point A to point B. There's like no puzzles in the game, right? So that means the whole gameplay loop is the combat, which, to their credit, moving in the game feels nice. Like, you know, the dashing system, the combat system is fine, but also the whole combat system is just 3 hits. 1, 2, 3. And so literally to beat the standard enemy, you go 1, 2, 3, dash 1, 2, 3, they're dead. That's all you do. That's it. If you fight a boss, you go 1, 2, dash 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 1, 2. I'm not shitting you. That's what you do. So like there's just no layers to the game at all. And it's just like disappointing coming from Gris, where there's like so many layers to like the story and how they build it up, and even the platforming, how they just take you through all these different like puzzle platforming bits, and it's like this really like thought-provoking, and then you just like it's like, hey, this is a really pretty game, and the whole thing is you like animals, right? Because here's the thing, is that like the reviews are basically 50-50, where like some people are like, yeah, this game, it like gripped me so hard, and because like unlike Gris, like, you know, this is about like animals, and like I remember seeing one comment, it was like, yeah, I live alone with my dog, and so I really like the game. I'm like, wow, shocking. Like the people, so like if you have a pet and you really love your pet, you're gonna love Gris. By the way, it's just saying, if you love your fucking little fucking fur animal, bitch, and you love that thing, you're going to be like, oh my God, my dog died. And you're going to cry, and it's going to be this like really emotional thing. However, I think that that is a lazy thing to just have that be your entire storyline. I view it the same way as I view Fire Emblem, which is I'm going to kill your parent, feel sad. It's just a lazy way to tell story, and I just think it's boring. That's just like, especially when it's the whole game. And that's the problem. That's part of the problem is that since it's a short game, it's a 4-hour game, 5-hour game, like, you know, you can't like, Gris was also a 4-hour game, right? But they fit all that shit in a 4-hour game. NEVA is also a 4-hour game, but there's just like what happened? Like it feels like they took a step back in everything besides the art department. Like the music was even kill. It was like just as good as Gris. People said that Gris's music is better and NEVA's was worse. Fuck them. NEVA's music is very good still. Yeah. I won't.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's two things here for me, right? Is that number one, I feel like with a game like a company that seems to do a lot of their storytelling environmentally, right? Like the dog's death needs to be symptomatic of something else that develops later, right? Where like a lot of stuff, as you pointed out in Gris, like everything just unfolds like as you go through the game, and more is just revealed as you go. So I feel like if you're going to kill like something like that, number one, I think that starting with a basic premise like that isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I think that expecting people to care from jump and then have that carry them to the end is a little unearned, right? Because it's different when it's like, you know, let's say like this was like NEVA 3, right? And you had spent 2 games with that dog. Killing the dog at the beginning of like a NEVA 3, that's earned. We know that character now. Yeah. We know what the dog and the character mean to each other. If there's 4 hours of mourning this dog that you just spent, let's say their other games are 4 hours, right? You know, there's 8 hours then, you know, there's like 8 hours that you spend with the dog, and then there's 4 hours of lamentation. Yeah. That kind of feels a little more earned, but just saying like, okay, well, the dog's dead now, like, please be sad.
So that's the thing, is that's the end of the game. So I don't know if I discussed this well, but basically like here's the actual story. Let me like put it better, is that like the game starts off with the ending credit scene. So they start off with the grown dog dying. And that's just like, it's like a foreshadowing thing, like the grown dog's gonna die, but you don't know that that's NEVA. So like NEVA is the grown dog at the beginning, and so you start the game with NEVA, and you go through and you fight like the people, and you watch the dog grow up, and then at the very end of the game is where NEVA dies, and then Braham, I don't remember the other dog's name. The tiny dog is the one that like lives on, right? And that's roll credits. Like NEVA dies. You see like fucking like sunshine, rainbows, and flowers, and then the game ends, right? That's my thing. I do think, to your point, like if the dog died in the middle of the game, I think it would have been more interesting. But that's kind of the thing is that like the game ends with the dog dying, and they just shut the door. Like dog's dead, life is better now. Like they sacrifice themselves for the greater good, and I'm like.
And I assume that a game like that, where, you know, you start with the death, right, it's then meant to be a reflection or like a celebration, right, of life. And it's the idea of like a funeral being a celebration of life instead of you know, just a funeral or just a mourning or whatever. But again, it feels a little unearned to me in the sense of, you know, like, I mean, if you went to a funeral for somebody you didn't know.
What
are you gonna? That would be kind of fire if you did that. Though.
How are you gonna
roll the fuck up to somebody?
That's also the thing. Going to the funeral of someone that you didn't know. There's a lot of parts in the game where you're just not with the dog. Like there's a lot of sections of the game where you're actually separated from NEVA too.
Interesting.
And that's like I didn't even think about that, but because like there's this whole like you're going to hell basically like without the dog there, like because you're like in this like nightmare like thing or whatever. Because it's like, go ahead.
I also just find it interesting too that the impact of the game is kind of contingent on like, do you
that
like
very
animals?
first moment, really?
Like
yes,
like you were kind of saying, where it's just like
I was gonna mention that too.
I'm in a similar situation where it's like, I mean, I'm in the complete like I'm not like indifferent towards animals. I actively try to limit time around them because they make me uncomfortable and anxious and
yeah, he's a little crazy. I'm just indifferent about animals. I just don't care. Right. He hates these fucking
I have
furry
allergies. That's
pussies.
probably their biggest problem is they make me feel like ugh.
Well,
But
yeah.
that can't be helped. But it's like yeah, it's like you said, like it's contingent on whether that speaks to you. And so if your whole game is built around like a premise that has easy counterexample, then it's like
Yeah. Like the whole game depended on that, and that's why I say it's a lazy game, because the whole game depends on that, and it's just like
Yeah.
Now you can
And I
maybe
think
argue that
that,
like the whole game of Gris depended on you going through grief, but like I haven't really gone through grief. Like I haven't really like I've lost family members, but none that like I'm like super close to. You know what I mean? At least in recent memory, I've lost someone when I was like a kid, but I don't fucking remember anything from 3 years ago. So like, it's hard to, you know.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
But I think like that didn't. I think the reason the Garissa storyline was good because it went through the character stages of grief, and you saw them like going through it, right? And you could relate to that, but it was intrinsically about them. This like was like intrinsically like you just have to like your fucking little fur ball, right? And if you don't, then it just kind of falls flat, which is kind of what happened.
It's also interesting too that so they show you the death at the start of the game.
Yeah.
And then they
so
it's
so
like,
basically like the scene is they show you the death and they cut it. But at the end of the game they show you the death, same scene, but then it cuts to like the little cub. So like it seems like the dog dies, but basically what happens at the end of the game is that the dog is about to die and then the little cub comes up and then him and Big Dog, Brahm and Neva like kill the guy together. Neva dies, and then you and Brahm like live happily ever after. That's like what happens. Like,
right?
Spoilers! Oh my god, it's a 4-hour game. If you haven't played it, I don't fuck off. Like I don't know.
Right.
Are both games the same length?
Yeah, they're both like short games,
Okay.
like one sitting, like bam.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, the idea of I guess a niche game or a game that is only going to appeal to certain people is certainly not something new, right? So like, if your idea is that, well, this is just the story we wanted to tell, right? Then that's totally fine, I think. But I think that it's a much better goal to tell a story of grief like that, or a story of, a celebration of life, in a way that will help people see into and understand, the world basically that you're talking about. I mean, like, there's an hour-long game called like The Mortician's Tale or Mortician's Tale.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
That like also does this sort of thing. Then there's that game called The Beginner's Guide that talks about like game dev and stuff. Yeah, like both of those games do a really good job of, trying to make you understand whatever subject matter they're talking about. I think the other thing too is that with a game like Gris, right, or a bunch of these indie games that come out, when it's a studio's first game, it is very much, in my eyes anyway, the same as when a band comes out with their first album, like on a label, right? And it's like everything in their life leads up to that point.
Yeah.
And then it comes out.
At stake.
It's like their baby.
And then you have to, and then you go, well, shit, guys, we got to do it again. But this time we don't have 20 something years to do it. We have 4 now.
Yeah.
Because like like a band's first album, for example, or a game dev's first game on a major sort of stage like this, or a major platform, is like, that is who they are up until that point. And then they have to figure out who they are going forward. And then who they are going forward might be much less informed, on the next installment. This is why sometimes, like, this was especially true of when I was in high school. I noted that a lot of like metal bands of the time, their second albums usually weren't seen as like being like the follow-up to their fucking
Disturbed's second album is
Break It
fucking
album.
dog shit. Believe is the worst album they've ever well, they've released
It is a little dry.
Was the worst album they've ever made up to 2015. The two after that were worse, but
Mm-hmm.
Believe
But
was
it's like
really bad.
a band.
It's common.
A band will have
believe
a
you.
breakout thing, right? They'll have a breakout album, and then the sophomore album ends up being
Shit.
like fine or good, right? But it's not nearly as life changing for some people. Like people will go like, oh yeah, I'll see how, because then they have the second album come out, and then they have time to rebound and go, all right, so what did we learn about ourselves? Like who are we going
Nothing.
forward? We can get the third thing too. I mean, I'm gonna just bring up Devil May Cry again, right? Where
Oh boy.
He loves
the
it.
first game.
Can't get enough.
Well, yeah,
I didn't know you liked Devil
love
May
these
Cry,
games.
dude.
I had
That's
no idea
crazy.
either. So like the first Devil May Cry obviously is just this breakout action game that really just changes the genre for a while. The second game, Capcom greenlights it without telling the director of the first. They have to get the whole fucking thing made within 6 months, and it's not very good.
It's very quick.
And
It's a quick turnaround
the
for a
guy
game.
the guy that had to take over the project in the middle of it goes, I don't want to be known as the guy that made DMC2. So let me make 3, and I got y'all. And then 3 is, known as one of the best games of all time. But like, it's the same thing with, I mean, that's sort of like a couple of lightning strikes there because it's 2 different directors. So it's not a 1-to-1 comparison, obviously.
Yeah.
But
because they are the same people. Like no matter the people
Yeah, it's
that
the
made
same
Gris are
people,
the same
yeah.
exact people that made Gris, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think for me, like, I think overall is that like I just feel I'm disappointed, right? And I also recognize that it's not fair to like compare their games, right? Because it's just like,
Yeah.
but also at the same time, I do think it's fair to compare their games when they're both very similar and like
Yeah.
these are 4-hour quick shot story games. I just don't
Right.
understand how you go from this extremely in-depth, ultra layered, everything is thought out about it to like super bland. Here's the thing is that I think if it was just a solid story, like I think that I wouldn't have my same reaction. I'd be like, oh yeah, it's a little worse than Gris, but like whatever. Like how are they going to lightning in the baller twice? It rarely happens, but it was just because it was so flat. So just like, I feel like they just like turned down the saturation. You know what I mean? Like on everything besides the art. The art, they fucking cranked that shit. This game's beautiful. But like everything else, I feel like they just like, and I was like, hey, I want that. I want that color.
Give
Bring
me-
it back.
yeah.
I think that's one of the things about like Supergiant that just kind of continually amazes me is that they have like 4 games, now 5, I guess. What is it? It's like Pyre, Transistor, Bastion, Hades, and then Hades 2.
And Pokemon Alpha Sapphire.
Nope.
But like they had up until Hades 2, they had never made a sequel to any of their games, and their games to some extent were pretty similar outside of maybe like Pyre. Pyre is pretty different from all of them.
Good soundtrack. Know nothing about that game.
Great
Great
soundtrack.
soundtrack though.
Great soundtrack. Yeah, wonderful soundtrack. Beautiful visuals too on that game. But each of them tells pretty different stories and has some different enough gameplay. Transistor is a very strange turn-based but not turn-based style of game. It's pretty cool. I would say play it. But their writing is so, like, the voice of the writing in those games is so strong, that they can tell these very different stories. And just there's just no fall off in quality, really. Like I've played all of their games except for Hades 2. And I don't know what it is. I mean, they just must be a bigger studio or something.
They're just
Because
a
I think
ghost,
this is generally just, I think, a problem with smaller studios, right? Is that you have a few people that knew what they wanted to make, the first thing that they wanted to make, but now they got to figure out, like, damn, bro, like, who am I outside of this thing that I've been working on for?
Yeah, well, at that point,
years.
you usually also have stakeholders as well, right? Because now that you're more established, you have more people that like might be involved with you from like a publishing standpoint.
I think they're under Devolver Digital. I think that's
and so that can lead to some
umbrella
sort
company.
of pressures that kind of change, the circumstances in which the thing are created, which changes the thing that gets made, right?
Yeah.
There's something else that I kind of thought of that this is kind of backtracking a little bit to the whole like structure of the story a little bit, but I feel like the idea of like having like the big like, oh, your companion dies told to you right at the start is really interesting, but
At the
from what
start
I
of a
gather, it
4-hour
doesn't.
game.
It just doesn't feel like it's taken advantage of, right?
You
Because it's like
really like know
and
what you're doing when you do something like
it
that.
also
Yeah.
it also confuses you, because that's what happened to me. Is it started playing the same scene, and I was like, is that the same scene from the beginning of the game? Because I also played this game over the course of a couple days because I had a lot of shit to do in my real life. So like I played it in 2 sessions, right? But it was like 2 sessions 2 days apart. Like it wasn't like crazy or anything, but I was still like, wait, this is the same scene. And then like it happened, and then I was just like, huh? And I was just like, why did they I had to look up what the game was about. And then I found out that it's about nothing. I mean, it's about your it's about your companion.
Yeah, I mean, I guess a different sort of like take on that, right, is like Last of Us 2, where Joel is killed like 2 hours into the game. And everybody thinks this is kind of a stupid move, but honestly, like, it's a really risky one to kill the protagonist of your like blockbuster game from a few years ago. You kill him like 2 hours into the game, and then the rest of the game is like spent feeling his absence, like, you know, the character is spent feeling his absence essentially. But when you're dealing with heavy topics like this too, and you have to figure out a way forward, like, those are not, I guess, voices of writing that some people can just like call up all the time. Gris is such like a deeply personal and like deeply introspective story. I don't expect somebody to write something that life-changing twice in a row.
I didn't either.
You know? Yeah. I mean, I don't think you did either. It's just that, like, I think that what they needed to do was maybe give themselves like another year to like sit on some stuff, because then they can maybe flesh out more details with the story and make it just, I guess, even just a little bit easier to understand, right? Because
anything like
it's, I don't know, I feel like there's something there, and I think just listening to what you're talking about, I think that I understand what they're going for. But I mean, right now, I mean, I will say too that I'm glad that we have people making games like this, you know, these more introspective games.
Again, I think
I'm just thinking out loud. I'm not
10.
saying you're saying the opposite, you know.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking out loud, but
like the game's a 7 out of 10. I would recommend it to people to play it. Just do not expect anything.
Don't
in
expect
depth.
Gris.
Just expect like a really fun, turn your brain off to like expect like Lil Uzi Vert. Like you go to rap music and you listen to Lil Uzi Vert and you turn off your brain. You're not getting Tyler the Creator. You're not getting Kendrick Lamar. You're getting turn off your brain and you know, you're not getting fucking
Tyler's new album so
United in Grief. I haven't listened to it. Actually, I've listened to a part of it. But like
well, it's not bad.
You're not getting all that, right? You're just getting club music. Boom, boom, boom. It's fun, right? Because I think like this is kind of like the last thing I have to say about it, because I forgot to mention it, but like I feel like what Nomada Studios did is that they saw all the positive praise from Gris, and they were like, and the loudest thing about Gris was, oh my god, this is the prettiest game I've ever seen in my life. The soundtrack is so good. And I feel like what happened is that they were like, we need to make the prettiest game people have ever seen in their lives. And I feel like they just like forgot everything else that made their game good to begin with, which was the intricate, really cool puzzle platforming. That puzzle platforming is not that common, especially in the form factor of no death, right? I don't think that's been done before at all, right? And I'm not saying they don't have to. I'm not saying they have to do NEVA. There are. But I don't think the no death mechanic matters here, right?
Okay.
I think they could.
I just wanted to know because I
game.
remember you were speculating about it on a past episode.
Yeah,
and I just wanted to
there's two. There's adventure mode and there's story mode. Story mode basically is you can't die and enemies die quicker, but there's no like platform, and like certain platforming is easier. I don't know what that means. I haven't seen any platforming that was easier.
Maybe some platforms are bigger or something.
Or Coyote Time, or I don't know.
Coyote Time, something. I don't know. I didn't play story mode, so I don't know. But like all I know is that like, for example, how I was describing the enemies die in 6 hits. You go 1 2 3 -1 2 3 to trivialize the game. This is also could just be me being way too good at platformers, and I understand that as well. But I think you just 3 hit them. You just 1 2 3 and they vanish. But
Bada bing, bada boom.
yeah, I just
He's
think they
just too
kind of
good.
just like lost the plot where they were just like they put like all their stock into art, and then they just like forgot that like, oh,
Yeah.
all this other stuff that made the game, it was all of this, like it was the art alongside this. The art was the leading thing, because you see
Yeah.
Gris and you're like, holy shit. I mean, you see NEVA screenshots and you're like, oh my goodness gracious.
Oh god.
But like
yeah.
if it's met with, if there's nothing behind the curtain, it's just like, you know, it's just this like
It's window
like,
dressing.
yeah, it's just like,
Yeah.
oh, look, it's like a really pretty thing, and then you get inside and then you find out that like the person's a bitch, and you're like, whoa.
well,
So now here's my question to you, Nestani, because
Yeah.
you've been talking about, we've been having talks about this a little bit about like, you're like, oh, I'm never probably gonna, if it's anything like Gris, I'm never gonna speedrun it, because like Gris is such a good
This is
game
gonna
that
be
I
my
don't want to
question,
ruin
yeah.
it. And NEVA is definitely not that.
No.
So do you see yourself like messing around with running it, or are you just that kind of milquetoast about it that you don't want to give it
So I would if the platforming was interesting, but again, 80% of the
It's just
game is
not.
rolling in a straight line.
Mm.
There's
That'll do it.
there's not much
Yeah.
swag. Like the most swag is that like you can like jump, get damaged by something, and you regain your resources. So there's a double jump, so you can basically get a triple jump.
Yeah.
You use that,
Got
I think,
it.
once in the speedrun. I haven't watched the whole speedrun, but like it's an hour and a half. You literally just play the game quick. There's like not really like anything going on.
yeah, there's
I mean, I
nothing-
might play
it's
it for
kinda
fun
capped
just
at some
because,
point.
you know, I like the game. I like walking through a lot of pretty colors. I like pretty colors. That's
Yeah.
why I played Lunistus. Pretty colors, but like also there's a lot more going on in Lunistus.
Yeah.
And this game, it's very simple, and I just don't think that something that simple can keep my attention. Like it's just not.
Yeah, there's just not enough depth there. In terms of,
Yeah, because like
mechanics.
like it or not, like if I'm playing something, I'm competing in some sort of way. Like I'm taking it seriously and I'm trying to improve. Like even if it's only for a very short amount of time, because I find out that the game is dog shit to improve in at Fire Emblem Sacred Stones. But like everything else that I've ran, I've taken very seriously. Like Puppies, I granted that shit for like a month straight and I got 4th. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I
true.
mean? Like everything, and obviously
Yeah.
the other 2 games I've run, I've gotten record in, right? And like most of the times I don't pick up something and just put it down unless like it's Neopets, and Jax never teaches me the end of the run or the advanced route. And then, you know,
Oops.
and then it just never happens. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I could speedrun it, but I think that's just not gonna happen.
You just need to wait for something that speaks to you a little more.
Yeah,
mechanically.
maybe it'll be the shadow.
Shadow Generations.
I did just buy it. I'm gonna play. I broke everyone. I bought the game.
Dude, everybody says that it's
Yeah.
actually kind of fire.
Dude, I just keep seeing clips from it,
Yeah.
and I'm like, dude, this is the coolest shit I've ever seen, because Shadow the Hedgehog is one of my favorite games. I think that game is so fucking good.
Oh, yeah.
Like SA2,
Oh, yeah.
and like it's my top 3. Like I would probably say Unleashed is
I
my
didn't know you were a
favorite,
Shadow fan.
then Shadow,
is-
then
that is high
SA2. I
praise.
think I like Shadow the Hedgehog more than SA2, which is probably sacrilege
That's-
to a lot of people.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I'm
but-
glad we don't have a lot of Sega heads. in
I just really like Shadow,
On
the
your
character.
listeners.
This is heavily biased. SA2 is objectively a better game than Shadow the Hedgehog. I will not.
Sure.
But I
You
just
won't,
really like
contest
Shadow. He's
that.
just cool. He's like, come on, it's fucking
He says
Shadow.
damn.
He says damn.
Damn.
If you all saw
Where's
the
that
video
damn
game,
Ford Chaos Zone?
if you all saw the video game Donkey video, bro.
I'm chasing
damn. This hell.
Yeah.
that video was godlike.
If you like platformers, you like Shadow the Hedgehog. If you like action RPGs, you like Dirge of Cerberus. These are just 2 branching paths. Like, that's just all.
Bro
it
just
is.
wanted to bring up Dirge. He just needed it. He was just like,
Dude, Vincent Valentine is the Shadow the Hedgehog of Final Fantasy VII. Like,
So you're
really
saying
it.
Dirge is the melee of speedrun?
yes.
Dude, I'm not even gonna lie though. Like, I've never played a single Final Fantasy game, but when I saw that shit at GDQ, I was like, this game looks kind of fire. Like, this
no
game
Dirge?
looks cool.
Oh, Dirge is cool.
Dirge
yeah.
is quite different from a lot of the games. It's, you know, because it's an action RPG shooter, but a lot of them are, you know, either active time battle or turn-based RPGs.
Right, yeah. Which I don't know.
So
I
boring.
don't know if I'd really like that game. Or...
It depends really on, because here's the thing,
Meanwhile, I
right?
play Fire Emblem.
Yeah. Have you played like
Yeah,
Kingdom
I don't know,
Hearts
I've
at
never
all,
gotten
or
into those
no?
games.
What did you say?
Have you
Cosmic?
played Kingdom Hearts at all, Coley?
Nope. Never played Kingdom Hearts.
Okay.
Never
Me either.
want to, maybe.
Yeah, me either.
I don't know.
I don't care.
I feel like I would just get really annoyed. Like, I do not like stories. Like,
I don't like
Man,
stories.
just
Like, that's
go
So
not
you
like
would
watch
love
summaries.
NEVA. Go play NEVA.
I would. No, I
Play some NEVA, bro. You'll get some simple
No,
ass
but
shit.
dude,
You
it's
can't
like-
fuck it up. Actually,
I
it's gonna be
hate-
so simple that you're gonna be like, did anything happen?
Oh my god.
Is
But,
NEVA just like a playable movie? Is that what it is? Like,
Yeah, actually, kind of. Yeah, I mean,
I
the
really
platform.
struggle
So
with.
I read comments that the platforming was apparently difficult and the combat was also apparently difficult. I think that is. I think part of the gameplay symptom is that I have spedrun platformers for the past 3 years, so maybe I'm just too good.
Yeah.
That'll do it.
But I don't know, like, again, the mirror thing really fucking cool. I was just like, oh my god, my brain, it's on. You know what I mean? That was the
Yeah.
coolest thing I've ever
Neurons
seen in a game, by the way.
The
Like,
receptors are lit up.
the mirror platforming
Neuron
thing is
activation.
the single coolest thing I've ever seen in a video game ever, period. Like, that shit was so cool. Like, I stopped playing the game to record it. You have to understand,
Yeah,
guys,
that's
that
true.
I am the furthest thing from a fucking content creator. For me to stop
Yeah.
playing a game to record something and post it on social media,
That's true.
like, that's
facts.
not something I do. That's why I was like, this is the coolest shit I've ever seen in my life. But that's why I said the game's good. It's just like
Copied it from Luigi's Mansion.
just.
So what were you
don't
saying
have any
about you don't like
expectations.
stories, Cole?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Go ahead.
I hate stories where it's like they
Yeah,
obviously
me
just
too.
make up shit as they go. That's what I don't like. That's what like I hate Star Wars.
So like what we do on this
because-
podcast.
Scooby Doo Night of 100 Frights?
No, that seems like a very well paced and thought out story. You know,
No,
I don't see
definitely
any
not.
plot holes in that.
I can't help you on this, Cole. I don't know the story of Scooby Doo Night on Frights.
Holly has a fat ass.
We've
That's
been
all you need to know.
speedrunning it for like 3 or 4 years or whatever, and like you don't
I know
Nestani
Holly does
doesn't
not.
play
Holly
games
was
casually.
there.
We've
the
talked
story's
about
stupid
this.
because there's not enough culprits for you to guess who it is. And like, what are the culprits you never even
Oh
meet
no!
till the end of the
Oh, no.
Spoilers,
We've-
that's
we've launched
Scooby-Doo.
him. We've launched him. Please pull it back.
Ruh-roh.
Spoilers.
Well, all right,
Guys,
but
go
take
watch
a look at, like,
Scooby-Doo.
Zombie
Go watch the
Island.
Scooby
There's
Doo
at least a
video.
little
He
bit more.
talks about all of this in the
Yeah,
Scooby Doo
you
video.
should.
Go watch that.
Yeah, and honestly,
Don't bring it here.
yeah.
Don't bring it here.
But here's the thing: is like, let me a better example.
We don't
it's like
do that.
Star
We're gonna have
Wars, man.
Smite Part
It's
2,
like-
but with Scooby Doo.
They made Star Wars, and then they were gonna make more things, and then George Lucas likes to claim like, oh, I thought of all this when I was in my 20s and making it and stuff, but it's like, yeah, wrong. Nope, you did not. Like, it's stupid. Like, I don't like a lot of I love Star Wars. Star Wars is an ex-girlfriend that I just can't get over. Like, I love it. I love her, but I remember what she did to me, you know? Like, it's a bad time, man. And the same thing goes with Kingdom Hearts. It just seems like they just make shit up as it goes. Like, I watched a summary of some of the plot, and I'm like, this is stupid. I will not take this seriously. And I'm going to break some people's hearts here. I'm also just not a Disney guy. I never grew up with Disney. My parents didn't like Disney just because they thought the movies were stupid. And then because they thought it was
Damn.
stupid, they just never showed it to me.
I mean, they're not
So I never
wrong.
grew I never
were
grew up
kinda
with Rapunzel,
spitting.
Cinderella, like all that. None of the princesses, none of the
I've only ever
OGs.
played-
I grew up with Pixar, Steve Jobs. He made a lot of great movies.
I've only.
But like all these other Disney stuff. Sorry, I'm not gonna. But yeah, so I don't really have. I'm like, oh my god, I get to see Goofy and Donald versus Sephiroth. Golly, like I don't know.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
never captured
that
my
wasn't a
attention.
draw.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I've
That
never
wasn't
played the game, so I
a
can't
draw
say.
for me. Like I've only played Kingdom Hearts 1 to 3, so I couldn't really like defend or nag on the
You didn't play like
overarching
2.5
plot.
Shadow of the Colossus Heart Key Binding Blades featuring Dante from the Devil May Cry series or whatever. Like you didn't
Super
play
Smash
any of those
Brothers
games?
Ultimate.
Okay.
358 days divided by 2 or whatever it
Yeah.
is. It's one of the
Yeah,
games.
or whatever.
Yeah, it's literally like one of the titles for the games. But
Ugh.
so I mean, I think that with Final Fantasy, there's something in each game for everybody. Even if not every Final Fantasy appeals to you, probably at least one will. It's just a matter of finding really which one that is, and I usually just look at the cover art and go, "Yeah, these characters look cool."
I
and
played the
just
one with
kinda dive
lightning
in.
and snow in it. That one was pretty
13?
good. Except for the part where you get to the game
Jax.
and you have to literally grind for 70 hours. I played up until that point, and
Oh.
that game was great. And then I watched the rest of the game.
For what game? For
Final Fantasy
13?
13.
Why
where
did you
get
have
to
to
the
grind for 70 hours?
You get to the big open field, and then you just have to grind the big open field for a very long time in order to be able to complete the game. It is really dumb.
I didn't have to do that.
Maybe
Nestani-
Nestani's just dog
I don't know. I played this game a long time ago, but that's what we had to do.
I didn't have to do that.
I don't know.
I just want to play 7.
Congrats.
That's all I want to play. I just want to play
I don't
7.
know,
Talks
man.
about
Like,
7.
This could
say
also be a
that-
symptom of like the child saying, I had to grind forever, and it might have been like you just grind for a little bit and then you can keep going.
Yeah, pretty much.
Imagine being a child. That's crazy.
How old were you when that game came out anyway?
I have no fucking clue when did it come out.
2013.
2013?
No, 2009. I'm sorry, 2019. Or so, I'm sorry, 2009. 2009.
Final answer?
2009.
I
I was
was
7.
25
me
minus
double check.
25 minus 14. So that's 10, 15, 4, 11, 10.
You were 10?
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. That's fair.
I was 10 or 11.
Especially because I will say that game, if you had you played like Final Fantasy before that point or no?
No.
Yeah, so
I just
that
started
game
playing
definitely
because my siblings were playing it. I was like, ooh, Lightning's cute. I want to play her.
facts.
And I still agree with that to this day.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that game definitely kind of throws you a curveball where like it's like 35 hours of a hallway and then you're just on the field after that, right? And it's like
And half the enemies just like kill you in one hit and you're just like,
where
okay.
do I go? But like not every Final Fantasy is like that at all. A lot of them have just much better like sort of
And I think most
paths
people
to the
didn't
end.
like that game.
It definitely
what I remember.
it's definitely a divisive game. I will say that. I like that game, but
I like the story. I watched it on YouTube afterwards, and then I was like, this game's fucking lit. I'm not gonna play it though.
You know what's crazy? The only Final Fantasy game I've ever there's technically 2, but the main one that I've only ever played is Final Fantasy Fables Chocobo's Dungeon for the Nintendo Wii.
That is
like
a very
basically-
Jaxler Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
I will say
It's basically Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, if you've heard of that game.
that's fair.
But you're a Chocobo, and you're
That
mostly
sounds
by
kind of
yourself.
cute, honestly.
It's quite cute.
That's what's up.
It's a banger game. They actually made they ported it to Switch, PS5, PS4, I believe.
Oh, interesting.
Like when I was in college.
I
then
think that as much as I love Final Fantasy VII, FF10 might be my favorite. And it's
did
really
you tell me
because
to
of,
buy that
like-
game? I think I have it. I think it's like right there, and I've never played it.
Yeah, you should play that. It's good.
Sorry, man. You know what's crazy is
that is symbolic of so many things in my life. Dude, you should do this. Oh yeah, I have it. That's like being
I bought like Dante's Inferno.
God.
All the games that I bought, by the way, they're right there. You could see that little green Xbox. That's an Xbox 360
All the games that
thing.
I bought are also right
They're
here.
they're right there. Those are all the games I bought at that GDQ when we went to the store, like my very
I
first
just haven't
GDQ
played
in
any of
2020. I have not even opened any of them to play them. I just bought them.
Wow.
I have not
Wait, you
looked at them ever again. They're just there. And
What,
surely
Final
I'll play them
Fantasy
eventually.
X, Dante's Inferno, and what
I
else?
can go get them if you want.
Go get it, dude. I want to see what the fuck you're missing out on.
Missing out on peak.
True.
Hey, wait, while he's gone, can I ask you, both of you, have you ever heard of the game Felvidek?
No.
It's like I have no interest in actually playing it because it's a JRPG. So
That
I'm
sounds like a
scared.
Warcraft
but,
expansion.
It just has a really cool art style. It's Felvidek. It just looks really cool. It looks like a really fucking cool game, like artistically. But
I'll check it out.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So
All
this
right, so
is not
Nestani,
what
what do
I
we got
bought from
here?
the store, but one of my buddies went to Japan. They came back with this Fire Emblem copy from the
Oh,
NES.
sick.
So that's sick.
Hell yeah, dude. That is
That's
tight.
sick.
Yeah.
Because
Is that Super
eventually I
Famicom
want
then?
to own every physical copy of Fire Emblem ever made. But we'll get
Tight.
there eventually.
Hell yeah.
What were you saying? Were you saying something before?
Is that Famicom? Like in the upper right says Famicom?
it looked like it.
Super Famicom.
Okay, Super Famicom. Okay,
I can't
sick.
read
Yeah,
Japanese, so
hell yeah.
I don't know what the fuck game this is. But it's one of the Mars
A
games.
Fire Emblem for sure.
I think it's the
I'll
very
tell you that
first
much.
one.
Nice.
So
Well, maybe
I
if it's just
bought
normal Famicom.
Ninja Gaiden 2. Haven't
game's
even
tight.
opened. I guess I can. I've opened it.
Whoa!
Bought Ninja Gaiden 2.
You broke the mint. You broke it. It's no longer mint.
Broke the
I
mint.
bought
Shut up.
Transformers: Dark Side of the Moon. Haven't opened this yet, but
Oh, dude, I love that album.
love Transformers album. Actually,
Audio listeners, Jax just cringed.
Floyd,
the
yeah.
hardest I've
oh,
ever seen.
Pink Floyd, Kill Yourself. I have Final Fantasy 10.
Yeah, that's Black Label too, dude. That shit's tight. Hell
Black
yeah.
Label. What does Black Label mean?
So you see how the top is black?
Like it's not greatest hits or anything.
It's not greatest hits, yeah. Black Label.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
it was
it's like one of-
$8.09. So I have Final Fantasy 10, and then I have
Hell
Dante's
yeah.
Inferno. I have not played any of these. Oh wait, I've opened this game now, and now
You should.
hold on.
Can you open Final Fantasy 10 as well?
opened.
All right,
There we
sick.
go.
Let's go.
I've opened them at least.
That's a step forward.
We're
That's
so
Oh
progress.
bad.
yes,
Progress.
we're so back.
Little
You
victories
should
every
play Ninja Gaiden 2.
Ninja
honestly,
Gay too.
That game, I actually have seen footage of that game. That game looks pretty fun.
that game's got some. That run's got some sick glitches in it too.
That's what you told me. I think at the time is that you gave
Yeah.
me this exact same speech, and I was like, "Yeah, I'll buy it. I'll play it."
Nope.
And you didn't, you motherfucker.
I don't.
Hey,
here's
it
the
could
thing.
be your next speed game.
Here's the thing, everyone, is that I've discovered that I don't play things. I don't play video games anymore. I also don't watch
Dude, I'm
movies.
unfortunately
I
in the
also
same
don't
boat.
watch TV. I don't.
Well, not that.
I can't do anything anymore. Like all I do is watch podcasts, and that's like that. That's it. I'll be sober.
Yeah.
And the
Occupational
NBA.
research.
I'm sorry.
I'm doing
Occupational
research. Is that what you said?
Yeah, occupational research, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing research. I'm definitely just not watching Pokey and Lily yap for like an hour straight while having my mind all half turned off. Definitely not. I
Definitely
would never
not.
do anything
No,
like
definitely
Yeah.
not. Yeah.
No way.
You're trying to improve the quality of the programming for the listeners at home.
But I play NEVA. It's a 4-hour game, so I don't think I can give myself a pat on the back. What did I play before NEVA? I think the last game I played was
Probably Strider.
yeah, it was Strider actually. Yeah, I played Strider.
Yeah.
Okay. And then
Yeah.
but I think before that, I think the last game I played was Pumpkin Jack.
Damn.
You did a run or two, and then
I did play the game casually before I learned the speedrun. Hey, to be
That's
fair,
crazy.
that game's like 8 hours long, but come on. Give me some slack, man.
I'm the same way.
Surely I'm going to play the Shadow game that I just bought for $50. I'll update you guys next week, audio listeners, if I actually play the
I hope
Shadow
you
game or
have.
not. Or
You,
if it's just on my
should.
computer.
I really think though that Ninja Gaiden 2 is like probably what you're looking for. So
Is it?
great combat, good movement mechanics, sick glitches.
I would have to go.
Not
get
really
the
a story in
Xbox
that game
360.
anyway, so
problems.
you're not gonna be missing anything if you don't pay attention to the story in that game.
Well, see, here's the
So-
thing: is that like I've been contemplating this thing where I'm wondering to myself, do I even like bother trying to play video games anymore, like casually?
Dude, just boot up the speedrun, dude.
That's
telling
kind of
you.
what I'm thinking. What I'm thinking is that maybe I don't try to play games anymore. I just try to learn the speed run, and I just learn the speed run as far as I can go, and then when I get bored, I just give up.
Yeah, I mean,
Like I did
that
with
was really
Strider.
my. So let me tell you this: is that when I recommended Ninja Gaiden to you, I did not recommend it to you casually. All right, I recommended
Yeah.
it as a speed run.
What about the other 3 games that you recommended me, including
So-
Transformers: Dark Side of the Moon, that you definitely recommended me, and I definitely didn't buy
I
it just
definitely
because I
didn't do
like
that.
Transformers.
I
Well,
definitely
don't run
didn't do
Final
that.
Fantasy X.
Do you see Transformers 1?
So okay, I will
The
say this
first
about
movie?
FF10 is that you
No,
can
like the new one that
you
came out.
can blind play through FF10 and just use the speedrun guide and just follow all the menus.
I have
and you'll
2
complete
different
the game.
conversations going on. I can't. What?
All right, go Cole. Go for it, Cole. What's up?
Who's
There
going?
was a new Transformers movie that has like Chris Hemsworth in it and stuff, and everybody loves it.
Did it like release recently?
But you have not seen it.
No,
Yeah,
I
it just,
haven't. I
like,
haven't
released,
seen
like,
anything
at the same time as
besides-
Joker. Actually,
I didn't even know that released. I don't know anything about movies. I'm sorry. I watched all the Transformers movies that were like OG, like with Linkin Park music in them, and then I
Yeah, I don't know if
watched
this one has that.
Transformers Prime, which is one of the greatest television shows ever. Now, what were you saying, Cosmic?
Oh, I was saying that with Final Fantasy X, there's a speedrun guide that's so detailed that you could blind play through the game and just do the menus and everything, and
sick.
follow the instructions and just beat the game. Like,
I just have a fucking textbook on the side. I'm like,
yeah, exactly. I will say that I legitimately like the story for that game, and I think it's worth a casual playthrough. The speed run for the PS2 version is like 10 hours. So
oh yeah, no, I'm good. You won't catch me dead playing a 10-hour game.
And I love how the cutscene removal mod is like a 3.5 hour.
it's like 3 hours, yeah, like 3.5, yeah.
Go to hell.
Go to hell. That run is actually tight too because there's just a bunch of skips and shit like that. So yeah, it's cool.
I might have to check it out after we wrap this podcast, which I guess we can wrap this podcast now, unless we have anything else to say.
Unless y'all want to go to hell, like the.
Oh.
Well, I was gonna say that like there's a point where.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, like
we have time.
So some of the layers some of the levels in Dante's Inferno are like layered, and so most of the runs are done on New Game Plus. So you can like there's a move where he like slams a cross into the ground and it just like propels him upwards, and he can just keep doing
call
this.
That the Jesus boost.
True. Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you just have to have that one good tech, dude.
Yeah.
Yo, I'm gonna get this game in the GDQ and I'm gonna call that shit the Jesus boost. That would be funny.
This right here is the SS, also known as Salvation Skip.
This is also what they were talking about in episode 4 of NTSC podcast with DECosmic fellow podcaster Jaxler and Babe.
The
The
So
goat. They were talking about
you can
commentary.
just like you can Jesus boost yourself like all the way to the top of this level, and you just skip a bunch of shit in it. Like you just go straight through the geometry because like there's parts where there's just no collision and it's like it's tight. Yeah. Shout outs to Jesus and his boosts.
You think ceilings are going to stop Jesus from ascending? Like,
Definitely not.
What did
bro.
you expect?
You know what's crazy, Cosmic, is that you said this whole thing about you said Jesus boost, and I did not hear a single word you said afterwards because I was too busy laughing at the fact of me saying Jesus boost on the stage. I didn't intake or visualize anything you said to me, and I'm so sorry. I'm just laughing.
I will get up there and call it Jesus boost with you.
I'm just laughing at my own goddamn joke, bro. This guy's a fucking
this skip's called the Passion of the
narcissist.
Christ.
So my question is Jesus the first person to wrong warp death?
Yes.
It's more of a zombie glitch, right?
Is it zombie glitch or is it wrong warp?
No, he came back. It's not zombie glitch. It's wrong,
I think it's
warp.
wrong warp.
I go with wrong warp. That
Because
nigga
he came back to right where he was, and then he left. He wrong warped at the end, I think.
Oh no, he did quit to menu and then went back.
Yeah. There you go.
He came back and where his last same game was, dude.
Yeah. He's like, oops, I accidentally died. Let me just reset that real quick. It was like what happens when like you play Fire Emblem and one of your units dies. You just restart the chapters. That's what he did. He just restarted the chapter. He was like,
He came back out and he was like,
what do you think the New Testament speedrun would look like if there was a no save and quit rule, like, or a category?
True.
Like,
well, I will
how would
say
the route
that
be
Take
different?
at least 3 days.
The
Would
quit
it
to
have
menu,
been Judas Iscariot, or would it have been like Bartholomew or something like that? Like,
True,
is it
yeah.
like is it like some sort of Until Dawn branching path sort of thing?
I'm pretty sure that the tomb checkpoint saves time IGT but loses time RTA anyway. So like without quit to menus, it's just shorter.
yeah. You just sit there for 3 days. It's kind of criminal. Or you can just like get there immediately. You know what I mean?
So was Jesus a no reset then? Because we've never seen further word record improvements.
Probably, yeah.
I think
he
so.
would have to be, right?
Yeah.
Was it like a marathon run? Was it like the world's first GDQ run?
It was actually objectively, yeah.
Yeah.
We probably shouldn't continue this bit now that I'm thinking about it. Maybe we should stop this bit.
A lot of faithful people just got completely. What the fuck?
Everybody just turns us off.
Be sure to like and subscribe to the podcast, everyone.
We'll catch you all next time. I don't think that there's anything really going on.
There is NTSC episode 4 that Jackson
That's
and
true,
Bobby
yeah.
unironically, they
yeah.
talk about commentary, and I was editing the podcast, and I just started watching some of the podcast while I was editing it, and so that's how you know it's good. I still didn't watch the whole podcast. Sorry.
Yeah.
I just
It happens.
I don't even watch ours. Like you can't blame me, but I did watch parts of it.
It's fine.
And it was really good. They went over a lot of cool things. Fuck Blood Thunder.
for how talented he is. Yeah. Right. The day that this comes out, you will find out if Jax and I got into
GDQ.
True. So pray up. Get your
Bless
prayers.
up
And happy
for
Halloween.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Halloween was
guys,
yesterday.
I feel like if you all didn't get to GDQ, is it because of this tangent that we just went on about Jesus at the end of this?
If they somehow knew about this tangent prior
Well,
to
Right now.
it's not them.
Prior
It's God. He's being like, guys, you don't deserve it again because you made fun of me. Like, and he just like
Oh.
slaps you on the wrist and says, "Fuck you. Better luck next time." You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I already routed bad ending anyway, so I feel like we're good to go.
In bad ending, does Jesus live? Is that like the bad ending, or
No,
Dude has
bad
routed
ending.
this whole
Actually,
thing
I
out.
think
Bad
it would be
ending
because
is
then he would have
like-
died for the sins, right? He would just be alive, and then everyone
Yeah,
would
that
just
would
be
be
dead
bad
forever.
ending.
Bye
Yeah.
bye.
Mhm. True.
Everyone would just go straight to hell,
or is it like a timeline in which Judas
Just be on
Iscariot
that fire
survived?
beach.
Like,
burning up.
Yeah.
or is the Judas Iscariot run like the DLC?
Yeah, that's the alternate.
No, DLC is like everything after Jesus. You know,
True.
wouldn't that be
Yeah.
it?
The Prophet Muhammad
I don't know where this
speedrun.
bit's
Holy
going,
shit.
honestly.
Goodbye, everyone.
So, yeah. Goodbye. See you later.